Oh, do we have Mr. Levins joining us? Okay. Can't really start without him. Wonder if he doesn't know where the link is, maybe.
I emailed it to him. This is the one that we're going to do, this one and budget, right? Together?
All of them, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
All of them are the same link.
And also LSC or what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, good. I can just stay on there.
Yep. It's easier than trying to get everybody on and off and on and off.
Are you texting him? I left my phone, I think, at work.
I will.
Okay.
Oh my God, how do you do that?
I know.
I would be freaking out. Maybe it's better.
It's actually a blessing in disguise. I'm not missing it at all.
All right.
I just saw a movie last night that I hadn't seen in a while called St. Elmo's Fire. And they were all friends and nobody had phones, and it was really interesting. Everybody was smoking though. It was 1985. Yeah, my phone is at work. Okay.
Yeah, I'm texting him right now. Okay. Yeah, I restarted my router and then I restarted my computer, but I know it's probably they have to come out and mess at the pole, fix it. The last guy that came out said our cable had been divided between us and the person, the building next door, our business. That's why I was getting crummy reception.
Is it AT&T?
No, Comcast.
Okay.
But I think they're just as bad.
AT&T lied to me.
About service?
Yeah, you know who told me that they lied? One of their servicemen who came out.
Oh boy.
Why, I know. Hey, Brian.
Are they heinous? An AT&T person just knocked on my door.
Stay away, stay away. They're just,
Okay.
They lie.
Good to know.
He said he didn't get it, the email. I'm going to email it to him now.
Okay, thanks. Brian, one of these days you're going to have to show me how you do that background. I think that's really cool.
I will make one for you if you like.
No, yours is cool, but I like Brian's. Brian's has his, like he's at the freshman academy.
Oh, I see.
It's just I shot a video. The one day I got a chance to play with the lights there, and just uploaded that, where it gives you the option to do either a JPEG or a video file.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, I didn't want to embarrass Brian, but I texted Pat. I said, "Is Brian going to set the alarm off over there? Because I don't think no one's over there." He said, "No, that's just the background." I said, "Okay," because he's welcome to go there. I just didn't know whether it was open.
I will have to make sure I get in there at some point while I don't have to worry about competing for with sports teams for the gym.
Yeah. This was a crazy day. I want everybody to know, and I know Brian will testify on this, but
Yes.
I think our teachers, I mean, I'll say at the minimum, they work twice as hard as they normally do today. And it might even be 3 or 4 times. It was really a rough one on them, but you know, we got teachers that are dedicated and doing the best they can, but it really was a rough one today. This one's going to go down in history is a tough one.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges with the day like today is that we don't get all the fun stuff or as much of the fun stuff that comes out of the first day of school.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance I'm not out in the hall seeing familiar faces and touching base with colleagues or with students who I've had in the past. And helping guiding them, feeling like, okay, I know I'm the expert. I can tell people, okay, you know, you got to go over to Bakula's room down the hall there, or there's Miss Devine's office, or there's so-and-so's room. And or like when I would do that outside the drama lab and say, no, 191 is actually tucked way back in here.
Yeah.
You're the right place. Or yes, that is the way to go to the art room. That number does exist.
Yeah.
And so that's, kind of missed that, but at least this year we weren't having to guide students away from construction equipment.
Yeah. Every year there's something, huh?
Or other stuff, or wondering what other layers of dust we'd have in the next, in between times that we were in the classroom.
Hey, Pat, you there?
We had some response from students, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Brian. Hey, Kath, I think we're ready to go.
Okay. Call the meeting to order at 4:41. And go ahead, Mr. Levens.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Blah, 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 blah. Honestly, great things have really been kind of going on. I guess since there's nobody in the building, we've been able to accomplish quite a lot. The building is as clean as it's ever been, as I've kind of been reporting. All the floors have been waxed. The only area left to be waxed is the main entrance, but I had to postpone that because of Chromebook distribution. We had a vast increase in demand since Friday, which blows my mind, but what are you gonna do? So we continue to kind of just, I want to again commend kind of like our Aramark OM, Tony Beeler, engineers, custodians, just really doing an amazing job and continuing to stay focused, which is really, half the battle, right? And so they have done a real nice job in, getting the building ready for whenever it opens next. Projects, going down the line, I think we've already talked about the forum's been done, the main office has been done. Hopefully, Mark, did you remember that we want to get the library done? And I gave you that PO. Is it on the agenda?
I do. It's on the PO to be approved by the budget committee and also the LSC meeting. That's for $23,000 today. I'm confident it'll get approved for today.
Perfect. And here's another reason that to push for that approval is when we do open up the building again, and currently the way the library is, besides really needing that overhaul, just, getting that carpet out of there, is we are going to designate that as our care room. And so what that'll be is if anybody is ill, they'll be there because it's by the main entrance for easy exiting for pickup and stuff. So one of the requirements for a care room is that it can't have carpet. So there's another reason to kind of, push that along, because number one, it's way overdue. And number two, it'll help facilitate that, that necessity at this time.
What did you call it?
CPS has designated a care room. And what a
Care
care room is, when we come back to hybrid instruction and then eventually full-blown instruction, we will need to have a place if a kid doesn't pass a temperature check or whatever myriad issues may come up. We will be able to have a location that's easily accessible to the main entrance for pickups. And it's by the attendance office and the security desk, so it's actually worked out well.
Okay.
Since we won't be using it as a library this year, unfortunately, we figured this was a good use of it in the meantime. Kind of just going down project. Sadly, the gym at 222 roof, which was fixed, ended up having another leak. But the good news is, our Aramark OM, Tony Beeler, he was on it, and they've already got the PO through. It's already been repaired, and they've already repaired they're repairing the gym floor right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they refinished the large gym upstairs. And in the past, we didn't really get that done. We usually outsourced it to somebody who'd come in and take care of the gym floors. So, I was talking to Tony on the phone, and I gave him a huge kudos for just, getting it done like it's supposed to be. So, I think I've said this before, it's a catch-22. We've worked so hard to finally get a crew in place, and then Aramark has their 1 year, going to get fired next June 30th or whatever, be removed. And people are always like to me, oh, aren't you glad they're finally gone? And it's like, no, like I'm not. Like,
Not
I'm
anymore.
telling you, the team is clicking. Like it's really clicking. And it's like, are you kidding me? But I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled the rug from under us. But I don't know. We'll see. The sidewalk path was it's an interesting thing at the TFA. We've been over there for 2 different meetings. One regarding the punch list, and the other one was regarding the landscaping. And let me tell you, we've got our work cut out for us. So the sidewalk path, I guess finally when it came to light, it was a battle between the three, entities of Chicago, like the Chicago Board of Ed, the Chicago Maintenance Department, and the Chicago Park District. And what it really boiled down to is if they were going to build the sidewalk, it needed to be lit. And where was the electricity going to come from? It really couldn't come from us because we don't really have electricity out that far outside the parking lot, right? And so I guess that was really the big reason why it was held up for so long. So at the meeting we had in regards to the punch list, I was informed that problem had finally been resolved and the electricity source would come from the salt dome. So the maintenance department, I guess, agreed to whatever they got in return, who knows. But so that was the big holdup, and supposedly now it's 100% green lighted and should be moving forward. But as I always say in all these meetings, nothing is fast when it comes to working with, especially the three entities that I mentioned. So when it means it's green lighted and everything's been resolved, who knows what that means. So we'll continue to monitor and push for those kinds of things. I guess some other little things, just I have them on the list here, so why not? We the football storage area, lovingly referred to as the dungeon, had a lot of lighting and flooding issues. And, thankfully, again, with the time that we're able to kind of focus on projects, the drain was rotted, the lights were replaced. And so hopefully we won't have that, that mildew and stuff down there because the football equipment is down there. So Coach Steve was very happy that we were able to kind of work on that. As far as, dreams go, we've been exploring the turf field concession stand idea. We've had, potential donor maybe step up, but this is long term. I've reached out to an architecture firm that works with CPS, and they are going to design just preliminary sketches, what we can get for $50,000, what can we get for $100,000, what can we get for $200,000, and then we can kind of just try to see what level we want to shoot for and what we want to do out there. So I have another meeting set up with them. It's the Smith Group, the same group that designed the turf field. I have another meeting set up with them at the end of the month, and he's doing his preliminary work on that right now. And the good news is I was able to get approval to work with them because that's not easy to do either. So that was really good news.
Going backwards a little bit, you said landscaping.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let me go back to landscaping. Thank you. I got to tell you, we were at a meeting. It was Ryan and I. We were in this landscaping meeting, and you just have to kind of shake your head. And this is nothing new on our side. We've been talking about what it's going to take to keep this massive campus, landscape professionally looking nice. And, even back to when preliminary discussions back in November, it was like, are you sure we're not going to put a turf field on here just because, just the whole maintenance side, like the labor intensive work that it takes to maintain these fields, it's in the long run, it's much more affordable to put a turf on there. But we already know the budget, and we already know they weren't going over the 75 million, which I can understand, but again, shorted us in these little areas. So I believe tomorrow, the inside, so the football field, soccer field, the inside of the track is released to us, meaning we are now responsible for the maintenance of it. Okay, so the good news is that falls under Airmark's, their job, right? That's part of their contract. So I will say again, another kudos to Tony Beeler. I should invite him to one of these meetings sometime. We were on it, and he's on it, and he's confident that we'll be able to maintain it. There are some issues, though, moving forward as the remaining campus, which is a nightmare right now in terms of weeds and everything else. They will right now that still belongs to this construction group. And I think at some point they're just gonna dig it all up and they're gonna put down, I believe it's seed, which, and it's a, that's an interesting discussion too, the type of seed that was contracted and stuff like that. It's just an interesting scenario. But regardless, it'll be seeded, and the way it is determined that it's turned over is when you can do 2 mows. So in other words, the grass has to be strong enough, full enough to go through 2 mows, 2 consecutive mowing cycles. Okay, so we're not going to have responsibility for that for the rest of the campus for a while. They think spring. They think if it's a wet fall that they could establish that grass in 6 weeks, which, you know what, I don't know. I'm no landscaper. I certainly don't know. They think by the end of November, they'll be able to release it. I think they're crazy. So, but we'll see. You know, all I know is we'll have another meeting on that to determine, you know, yes, this is fulfilled. And we still have the public building commission and Jeff, and they're still on our side and they're still advocating for us at the meetings and stuff. So we do have people looking out who do know what they're doing. Because again, I certainly don't know. I'm not a landscaper. I don't pretend to be one. But I think so far I've been able to rely on Andy and Jeff very much, and they've been very resourceful. They've been helpful, so thankfully we still have them. The punch list at TFA, we did a walkthrough and went through all the issues that the faculty brought up, and there were only maybe 2 or 3 that really still needed to be kind of looked into. So I'll give kudos to Chris for kind of throwing out that idea to reach out to the faculty, because it was good. It created about, I don't know, 25 different issues that were all fixed, which was really nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was good. So the warranties kick in. I've got all that contract information, and just kind of go with it. But the building, I think, at the TFA is in really good shape, aside from the acres of land that we have to fix. But just to finish, kind of when we get control of the rest of the acreage, it's the watering that's going to be the problem.
Oh,
So we're trying to figure out, what we need to either purchase, or I've asked Tony to kind of look into the warehouse, because they have a whole floor that's got all this stuff up there. And I said, Tony, you got to get up there, because I've just seen it. I've walked up and it's like jaw dropping, all the stuff, all the equipment that's just hiding up on this 3rd floor of the warehouse. So he said he would look into that too, and then look at what the cost would be to get the right equipment to try to, be able to water it more efficiently, because that's going to be the upkeep. That's going to be the biggest trouble. All right. So that, I think, covers the landscaping, covers TFA. There's a couple things on the list.
Pat, if I can just ask you real quick with TFA, did they finish installing the sound system in the gymatorium?
My understanding is yes.
Okay.
But you might be able to check that out better than me.
Okay.
My understanding is yes. That was not on the punch list. So yes, I'm going to say yes. I'm
is
pretty
that in the,
confident.
yeah,
The gymatorium, yeah. I'm pretty
gymatorium,
confident
got it.
Mhm.
Stupid word.
Yeah, gymatorium, yeah. So I'm pretty confident that was finished. Couple of things that are still kind of out there that are just, again, kind of on that wish list kind of thing. Our security system upgrade, which honestly is sorely needed. I'm not sure.
Varsity campus?
Yeah, the varsity campus. Couple of reasons. We have a lot of dark areas, including the turf field, which doesn't have any surveillance on it. And I've reached out to Henry, who is like the head of, security systems at CPS. But honestly, I don't think I've heard from him, which I think I followed up and said, is everything okay? I just haven't heard from you. I'll have to put on my list to kind of follow up with him again, just to kind of see, because when I met with him, honestly, the Friday before the closure, and we had a great conversation. He showed me what needed to be done. I mean, I spent an hour just kind of, he was showing me all the different things. So that's something that's still on my list toward the top. I just haven't been able to get a response from him. VC pool lighting, that should be done. All that basically was replacing all the lights in that dim pool area, upgrading with LED in the fixtures. So that was all approved and the PO was there. Mark's handled a lot of the landscaping and repairs around the campus in terms of the bushes and stuff, which obviously every little bit helps. We discussed the library, the driver's ed parking lot. This is, I tell you what, no, this doesn't surprise me at all, because I just want to remind everybody that we allocated money for our turf field fence in June of 2018, and it was not installed until March of 2019. So the fact that we allocated our funds for the driver's ed parking lot repavement in May 10th, I believe was the exact date, and CPS did not fund their part of it for a long time, but our understanding is they finally put their money in and our money's there, and that the project is moving forward. So the fact that it's now September and it still hasn't started really is very frustrating, but not surprising.
Silly.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, and I think I'll just have to get a big shirt. Nothing happens fast.
I'm going to put a new thing on my background that says SMDH, because that's all I do during these meetings is just keep shaking my head. And I don't know how you don't hurt your neck as often as you must be shaking your head.
Well, I guess I'm getting used to it. It'll be kind of 4 years I've been kind of working in this area, and I'm getting just accustomed to the system. But I do know that one of the keys is the follow up, and I'll give Mark kudos on this one. He's been following up a lot with Mickey Pruitt, our contact down at Sports Administration, and he sees me on. It's like, what's going on, Mickey? What's going on? So definitely we're up on that one. And just waiting for them to step up and do the job. Well, other wish list things. Again, I think Mr. Winslow talked about maybe donating some money for a weight room renovation project. But again, these are kind of all in the dream stages. The drama lab, is on the list here. But I have to say, when the price tag swelled over $250,000, I'm not sure how we're going to work on that. So that kind of dropped a little bit. It's just that price tag is pretty massive.
Hey, Pat, with that drama lab,
Yep.
possible to share some of that information with us so we can maybe try to at least wrap our head around grant writing and what we can target?
Sure, 250,000. That's
but I mean, more specific within that.
Well, there was a lot of electrical issues. Definitely not up to code in many areas. But basically, when he came out and we did a walkthrough, and he and I spent a good 45 minutes in that area going around, and he followed up with me basically saying code issues, electricity alone was going to double this project.
Mm-hmm.
I think we allocated 110,000, and he basically said, there's no way. I mean, he was like, and I'll follow up with them. It's weird how they will expect, we have to wait. And then, but like when CPS made this deadline, they moved it up a month. And I know you're all aware of that. And we had to scramble to spend all the money. And then 2 weeks later, he emails us like, oh, we're going to, were you able to find the 250? I'm like, dude, I had to spend the money. Where were you 2 weeks ago when I told you I needed this? And then they kind of ghost you and you don't hear from them again. I think they're almost upset that they came out there and the project's not going forward. That happened to me on 3 different fronts. One of them was the fence along Northcott too. It was it was 10 days after the CPS deadline. It's like, oh, I've got everything done. Can we move forward? I'm like, we had to allocate the money prior to May 10th. What part of that did you not understand? It's frustrating. And then CPS did this for the first time ever. And again, well, I shouldn't say ever, first time in my tenure here in this role. In May, prior to the deadline, we obviously spent all the money as best we could, and we allocated projects that needed to get done. And some of them got done right away. and some of them are still kind of sitting there. CPS tried to take our money back like August, whatever date it was, and if you didn't fill out this form, they were going to take the money. It was like, what? You guys take 9-10 months to do something, you want to pull the funds 3 months later? It's crazy, but thankfully we're on top of it. I mean, honestly, Mr. Charles, myself, you know, we got the forms in, and they haven't taken our money because the cement door 3, door 4 cement work that was part of that, you know, purge May 10th is still not done. But talking to Tony, he's on Murphy and Sons, or Murphy and Jones, to get it done. You know, but it's wild. They were going to pull money on like 3 projects that hadn't been finished. Other things kind of on the wish list, the main gym climate control. I'm still trying to push CPS through that. You know, based on that Lane Tech game that got postponed and the danger to students, I'll be honest with you, I'm not getting a lot of take on it. They're really not open to a lot of projects. Rooftop units. Hopefully, I was told that, so the one rooftop unit that was repaired and then broke down again and is now should be working if we get hit with another heat wave, which we typically do, like the main office area, the 200s, library, that all that area should be cool again, because I've been told that it was, they repaired a leak and they refilled the cooling
Freon?
engines. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's Freon, but
Yeah, I don't think they use that
it's something like that.
Yeah.
But this goes to the fact that Tony also, which Leonard and I, Leonard's our chief engineer, we've been, you know, pushing this project. We have 7 rooftop units up there, and all of them are beyond their lifespan. And really, it takes a lot of time and effort on Leonard's part, and, you know, to keep those things running. I mean, they're constantly on the roof. But an order has been put into CPS Capital, because that's obviously a massive amount of money. I think each one of them is probably $100,000, if not more.
Wow.
But they're past their lifespan, and with the repairs that we have to keep putting POs in, and leaves a track of, you guys got to replace these. So working on it. At least it's in there. So what I always talk about is at least we've documented it, right? So I can trace it back to 2018. It's documented. I can trace it back to, and that's kind of that's half the battle.
Right.
Mark was really wanted to get the North Cop parking lot done too, but we were having an issue with the cost because it needed a lot more work than we anticipated. So it's kind of on the back burner too. On a different note, I know the engineers who have, again, been really doing a great job upgrading everything. We've had these issues with drains. In fact, if you look at the washroom by the by the auditorium by 206 or 106, and you go walk into the ladies' washroom, you see like the whole ceiling has been like destroyed from water damage, because apparently the drains are so old, and so it causes flooding. This happens in the library because the cafeteria is above the library, and you'll see sometimes like the tiles will get all water damaged. But so they've been replacing them, and that's another, you know, kind of few rainbows during this time, is that they've been replacing those drains slowly but surely. So once we actually make the repairs, it should be good to go. But
Well, it's just obvious you guys, you know, all the documentation you've done and the time you spent just figuring all this out before the shutdown has really paid off, being able to know exactly where to put all this effort. And, you know, like you said, you've already been documenting everything. So that's fantastic.
yeah. And so I believe that concludes my report for today.
Going back to the Northcott parking lot, I haven't been there since for a really long time, but have those parking lot lights been replaced?
Oh yes,
They're all
that's done. That is done.
Thank you. That's my own personal one.
Yeah, they
I noticed.
were. Yeah, they were not just replaced; they were upgraded. Some fixtures weren't even working.
Nice.
I think there was about 4 of the fixtures that actually got replaced, and they've all been upgraded to LED, meaning there should be no issues.
Very good.
I will say the one thing I'm gonna have to monitor is the timer on that. Just to make sure that it's functioning correctly.
Mhm.
Obviously with the summer and stuff, you kind of lose track of that because nobody's around.
Right.
But moving into the fall, we'll have to make sure the timer's working.
It would just be a quick fix if you needed it.
Yes, that would not be that difficult. Well, of course, I shouldn't say that because nothing is easy.
Pat, just so you know, I was at the Bryn Mawr lot by the varsity field, and all those lights are working too. I know.
Yeah, all the lights in the parking lots have been fixed. It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is awesome.
It took time, but yeah, it's.
There was also the lights that were across the field, not necessarily on the turf field, but like in between the school and the field. Those lights were off a lot too, but I had thought I'd heard you guys say those were timer issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, and I'm going to eat my words here, I think all the lights are functioning now. And if they're
Okay.
not, I just need to be kind of
Yeah.
and then I can follow up on it. But I want to say, because the way the project was approached was not just replacing the bulbs, was trying to find out what the issue was. We actually had to bring the company back out to replace fixtures because the bulbs that were being replaced and upgraded did not work. And that's similar to kind of to the pool. You can't just stick an LED light or whatever into any kind of fixture. So in that same process, all of the fixtures were replaced and updated with LED for brighter environment.
Wonderful.
I do wonder about the one pole by the tennis courts. And the reason why I'm wondering that, because when they were doing the construction for the tennis courts, putting them in, they may have had to disconnect it. It was the older looking one, but they might have taken it down too.
Okay.
I can't keep that straight. But either way, I'm pretty confident. I will say 99% of those lights and poles are working.
I'll take it.
Hey, Pat, I got a couple of things for you. The driver's ed lot, if people weren't aware of it, well, first of all, the driver's ed lot where we keep the cars was damaged by a tree. Was the fence damaged at all, Pat, when the tree fell down for the lot?
Honestly, Mark, I don't think so.
Okay.
I do know that area got cleaned up. Finally, they finally took all the trees down. The engineer team was supposed to go and clean it up, all the glass and stuff. And I haven't followed up on that yet, but I'm confident that was taken care of. And then a shout out to Miss Lewis, who came in and assessed all the damage and gave a report to CPS Capital so we could get the insurance claims and the damaged cars fixed.
Yeah.
So,
one of those cars was a new electric car, right?
No.
Oh.
Both new electric cars were unscathed.
Nice.
All right.
How were the cars
a
damaged?
couple
Was
other
it just
things.
glass or was it just like replacing glass?
No, some of them were hit pretty hard.
Okay.
Shattered. I think the good news is only I think it was 4 cars. I can pull it up, but I think only 4 or 5 cars were damaged. But I think only one of them was in like our current rotation because for some reason, there's about 3 or 4 cars out there that have been kind of out of circulation and waiting to be picked up. So maybe this was one way of them saying, come get these cars finally. I don't know. But Sharita even said to me, like, we've been waiting to have these cars removed for years. So they're just kind of sitting in that lot and they're not even used. So I do think at least 2 of those useless cars that haven't been used were destroyed. So I don't know. But I'll have to follow up on that because you kind of lose track of that issue because it's also not in our court, so to speak. That's in sports administration, driver's ed, and that really is that's their domain, so to speak. Yeah, so. But no, the electric cars are beautiful. The charging station works well.
Excellent.
They're really nice cars. So I'm very happy that finally also came to fruition.
All right, Pat, and for this team, we approved or we talked about getting grass on the varsity field or sod on the varsity field. And the price was either like $18,000 or $10,000. We decided to hold off on all of that until the fall, and then we can even reevaluate it because we thought it's a crapshoot if you put sod down, especially with all that heat we had and not being able to water as much as we can. And we thought we could get away with putting grass seed down, leveling it and putting grass seed down and planting it in the fall is when you're supposed to plant grass seed anyway. So we held off on that. I just want everybody to think that thinks that we may have done it. We didn't do it. We held off on that money to wait to see if we were going to have sports teams out there, because we didn't want to do it and then have sports teams out. So it doesn't look like we're going to have sports teams out. It looks like we're going to have softball out for maybe a month or a month and a half until. So we'll reevaluate on how we're going to do that in the fall. But we may just go with a leveling job and then grass seed. It'll be a lot cheaper, and I think it's in the long run we're going to be better off. As far as the driver's ed lot goes, I think we should utilize people on our LSC that have a certain skill set. I keep thinking of Taken. I have a certain skill set. I really
will
think that
find you.
I know. I really think that we can ask Miss Raguso. I can give Miss Raguso the people's numbers and just let her do what she does. And she's got a way, I think, of getting things done with persistence. I think that's in her wheelhouse. And I think right now we need to let her go and get this done, because I keep emailing Mickey every week and it seems to be stalling and all this other stuff, and so I would suggest we ask Ms. Raguso to do what she does, and I'll give her all the names.
So Mark, with
Yes.
that in mind though, I do want to kind of let you know that it's only been 3 months or 3.5 months. And I know that sounds like a long time, but in procurement world, it really is not. And I'm a little concerned if we put the heat on too much, that, I don't know, we might burn some bridges and people might get sick of hearing from us. If you go to the well too much, it gets dry. And as I said, come on, like I said, the procurement world is a really slow process world. So I don't know if we should dial it up too much more. I think you've been pretty good about, hey, where we at? I don't know. I would tread lightly on that, because again, in procurement world, it hasn't been that long.
Okay, Pat, the only thing I'm concerned about, and again, I will trust you because this is your wheelhouse here. I'm concerned we're getting put off until we're going to come to, what, we wanted to get it done, but now the weather's cold, and so we're going to wait till the springtime to do it. And then all of a sudden now we're waiting until May again. And it's just, that's what I'm scared of, because you know how the first couple of months fly by and all of a sudden it's November 1st and now the degrees are under 40 degrees and now they can't do it for whatever reason. But we can talk more on it, but I'll trust your judgment on this, okay?
Yeah. And quite frankly, those are legitimate concerns.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it's not, because that is their game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My other thing I wanted to talk to you about, this just occurred to me, but we've got Brian here. I'm wondering, when we got the quotes on the drama lab, it seems that our quotes were kind of like, let's do what we've always had up there and see how much it is. And I wonder if we've thought out of the box that's thinking, you know what, scrap whatever we have there and let's reconfigure that drama lab. So maybe we can have the stage on one end, and it might be cheaper in the long run if we did that than trying to make it a theater in the round. Believe me, I love theater in the round. I think it has its ambiance to it. But again, if we could get one side of it with lights and a stage that costs $120,000, I wonder if we want to do that. Brian, you want to weigh in on that?
I would strongly object to that.
Okay.
I think that in terms of anything for really preparing students and really giving them opportunities for building craft, learning craft, the theater in the round, it allows them to connect so much with the Chicago style of theater and to be able to go into the smaller houses around town and really use their craft for not just performance-wise in doing it in the round, but also from the technical standpoint.
Okay, I trust you, Brian, and that's why.
And so, and
yeah, so I trust
and
you.
realistically, although for us that's a lot of money difference, it really isn't enough of a difference that I would say that it's worth saying let's only do it on one side. It limits so much of what you can do creatively, and also limits the opportunity of the skill set that can be developed by the students, and in terms of what makes it such a unique, worthwhile space.
Okay, I can go with that. We had your expertise here. I just wanted to ask you. So we'll.
And here I am. I'm the one that directs on the proscenium. John and Quentin know that space inside and out, and really use it to beyond what it should be capable of.
Okay.
So it really needs to be a versatile black box style space. When you look at what Steppenwolf is finishing up right now, what Chicago Shakes just opened up with the Yard. I mean, those are all malleable spaces, and that's really where the industry is, and it will be even more so as they try to climb out of pandemic protocol, which will be for the next decade probably.
Okay, I trust you, Brian. Great.
Yeah, and just to put a stamp on that, it needs to be a multi-use kind of space that they can change sets and stuff like that. So, because they have so many different types of productions. But I also want to say what drove the cost up would not change whatever the layout is, because it was all mostly because of coding and fire and electricity and things like that. So that's fine. Thanks for the idea.
Okay.
Mr. Levens, I'm just curious, just because it is also a love of mine, the Black Box Theater. Just curious, who was it that gave the different quotes? Was Grand Stage Company one of those? Because when I spoke with Michael Hofstetler, he said that they were the company that worked in our auditorium when all the work was done as well. So I was curious, because he seemed to know the ins and outs of the space as well.
Yeah, so how it originally started was based with Quentin and John had got 3 quotes to kind of redo the space. That's where we came up with the $110,000 number. All 3 companies were not preferred vendors. And what a preferred vendor is a vendor that CPS is approved to do work over $25,000. And to obtain that status, I'm sure you have to jump through a lot of different hoops, and you have to, I couldn't even tell you how to do it, to be honest with you. I can give you the documentation and what it needs, but none of them were even CPS vendors. So, and another thing with procurement is they alter that list so much that, I mean, I was in a meeting just over the summer and I said, look, if you guys could just give us a link to the updated list, that if you're refreshing it, great. This way I could send the link to teachers, and teachers can say, oh, okay, this company is part of the vendor system, you know? But for some reason, that's very tricky, and they don't do that, and they won't do that. And even though they tell you it's a great idea, yeah, let me look into that, then they don't do it. So, my own personal kind of insight to that is it's a racket, and that's
Truly.
and that it really is, and that's why they keep kind of changing the rules, and they really kind of make it difficult. So
Interesting.
could look, if you want to email me the name of that company, I could certainly get a second.
I will re-email you, because I was kind of surprised. I figured that they were a CPS vendor, because when I spoke with this Michael Hofstetler, who is also a neighbor just up the hill, he knew the space inside and out. He'd looked at it multiple times over the years, and he quoted the work that Grand Stage Company did for the main auditorium. So I just figured, oh my God, win-win, they must already be a vendor, but never assume anything, I guess.
Assume that, yeah. And they have to be a preferred vendor, meaning anything over 25,000, they have to be a preferred vendor.
Okay.
Honestly, I've learned the reasoning behind that is, as a very strong union city, being a preferred vendor means that you use union labor, that these are all kinds of caveats that you have to follow. So
Okay.
Hey, Pat, one more question on the drama lab, because we've been kind of, I feel bad for the drama department. We're growing every year, and we've kind of, promised, and then we had to pull back and everything. So it really is a priority, I think, for a lot of us. But can we ask the companies, if they can come in with like a 4-stage plan, and maybe this can be a 4-year thing, because right now $250,000 is way too much for us to do right now. But if we had 4 years and it was like $60,000 a year, I feel I could carve that out of internal accounts or somewhere to where 4 years from now we do have everything. But if we had a 4-year, like, let's just take care of the electric first, then we can take care of the whatever can lights. I'm just making words up now. I have no idea. But then we can make, some other thing, like the 4 phases. So maybe we could look at that. Brian, does that seem like a doable thing?
Yeah, in terms of a multi-phase deal, that there's certainly aspects of that sound good. That might even be easier to get approved if you only are doing stages. I admittedly don't know the procurement angle of it, but I think it might be easier for us to write grants or reach out or with targeted. Again, the more that we can do targeted for, this is what of that money would get for if we're able to raise money, whether through different fundraisers or grants, that kind of thing too, to help supplement whatever CPS capital or the Taft budget would have to try to help.
I'll put something in your wheelhouse there, Brian. Maybe we can get some of our kids to write a letter to our grease guy, the guy that
Jim Jacobs. I've been trying to get to Jim Jacobs through all the alumni, and I've met him multiple times. And what I've been told, but this may be a load of hooey, but I can't get to him, is that that dirty, stinky guy who ran the foundation kind of put a nasty bug in his ear. That wonderful man.
But if you got letters from our kids, though, see, one of the problems that we have with the foundation is some of our big donors were tainted. And to be honest, he tainted me because I kind of like put it into his shenanigans. So he left a bad taste with some of our donors with me. But luckily I've been able to talk to them one-on-one, and we've got the lights and everything, so they understand it. But I'm just thinking, if Jim got like a really heartfelt letter from some of our kids, I think he might lighten up a little bit if he got that. So I'm just asking that. And so my second question is there really something called can lights, or did that just make that up? What is that? Right?
There's park hands.
Park hands, okay.
You're thinking cans is the dance that they do in front of the lights.
And then there's ellipsoidals and Lecos and lots of good stuff.
Okay. Hey, John. Hey, Tommy.
Mr. Wilson, if you're going to do a letter writing campaign, I can go back to 2 previous alumni performances of Grease where he came into the school, and I can probably get a bunch of alumni support and letters as well.
Cool. And I know that there were a couple of kids that were in our most recent production of Grease 6 years ago, met him when he came to the alumni thing, including Trevor Taylor, who played Danny Zuko.
What is that?
In that one.
What's
Sorry, my daughter's whistling.
Oh.
Oh, I thought it was my kid. I'm like.
So, but a letter and I think video, like a kind of video thing. If students do video testimonials, like a minute long.
That'd be super cool.
Alumni.
I hate to tell you, and I don't know this firsthand, but I've just also heard that he's very, let's say, reserved with his money.
Mm-hmm.
If he even has a lot of money. So
and
that's what I've heard.
In fairness, he did waive the royalty cost for us. That would have been over $5,000 to do Grease the last time we did it.
Right. Anytime a school does that play, they have to pay him like thousands of dollars. He gets a check from that school.
Well, they pay through the rights holder, which at the time was Samuel French. That's it with any production.
Wow.
And so Grease, because it's a top tier.
Yeah.
And it also depends on size of theater and.
Yeah. Wow.
We've done a better job too of really promising that we will limit the capacity of the auditorium, because we know we're not going to fill it for musicals.
Yeah.
If we couldn't fill it for Grease, we're not going to fill it for anything. It's only the international nights that really fill it for shows.
Okay, I know it's getting near the end here. We've got a couple minutes, but I want this committee to know that Pat and I will be sitting down and coming up with a list of capital improvements that we think need to get done and for everybody to share, because one of the benefits, I think, if there is a benefit from this COVID, is that it allows us an opportunity to really focus on our facilities since no kids are there, because normally we're constrained within like a 2 or 3 week period in the summertime before camp start and after school, but now we've got this open time right here. So we're gonna come up with a list and we're gonna put a fee letter out soon. We've lowered the fees, but right now we do have kind of a good, an okay budget. But if we get those fees in, then it will be a buffer zone to where we can spend the existing money we have right now for more capital. So I'm thinking at least a couple $100,000 from internal accounts that we could refocus towards some of these things that we need, or maybe just one big one like the gym, or, you know, I've already said I want every drinking fountain redone in the building. So we're gonna walk the building. So we'll come up and then we can prioritize as a group. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
All right, you guys. I'm just going to stay online. We'll start the budget meeting in 3 minutes.
I make a motion to close. Is this a motion thing?
No.
No. I make a motion. I go get a tea right now.
Okay, go for it.
Okay.
Motion approved.
All right, well, good seeing everybody.
All right, thanks, Mr.
I'll let you
Levin.
guys find out. I'll let you guys find out the money. See you later.
Bye.
What did I walk into? Fight about the money. That's not what I want to hear.
Well, I've got about still about 80 emails I got to get through here for
Okay.
issues that we've been working on today. So I'm going to work on that.
All right. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. All right, I'm going to try stop recording and then.